Uncensored. Unregularradio.com.
Back live to Hotheads, where activism happens. That was Jimmy Tingle.
Some more Jimmy Tingle. Still cracking me up. Although talking a lot about some unfair, some government practices, making jokes about waterboarding. It's not so funny when the government's going after you, though. Yeah. That's what we're talking about here on the show. And our lines are blowing up. Apparently, we're getting phone calls, and we have someone on the line, Subverso, right?
Yep, we got Subverso. Hey. And if you are calling, keep calling because we can't take all the calls at once, but we don't want you to think we're ignoring you. We want your calls, so. Keep calling after after we get through a few calls. Keep trying, right? Is that how we said it?
Yeah.
All right.
So we got Subverso on the phone. Welcome, Subverso.
How you guys doing?
We're doing great. Thanks for calling in. What do you have to say to weigh in on Barrett Brown and Anonymous and this whole situation?
It's obviously a witch hunt.
Yep.
29 years, 37. Like it's just a ridiculous amount of time anybody should be facing for info crime. This is like silly. We're talking about like decades in jail for somebody like this, and then we have like murderers and rapists, who get like way less time. And what's his crime? Like, what's his who's been hurt here? Really?
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, I look at like someone like John Corzine, who supported Obama, the former governor of New Jersey, who stole people's life savings, and he's not charged with anything.
Oh yeah, he's still walking about.
It's like if you do it for if you do a crime like this, a white collar crime or something, let's say let's call it a white collar like John Corzine, and you do it for your own profit and you steal people's life savings, that's evil. When you're Barrett Brown and you don't commit any crime and you're not hurting anybody,
you post a link.
How do you do more time? It's crazy. Just absolutely crazy.
And
it's all about who you've made mad.
Yeah, it's who you piss off.
Subverso, tell us about your involvement in Project PM. Like, what? Tell us about how you know Barrett, and tell us a little about Project PM, why it's important, and how you know Barrett, and what do you think about Barrett?
Well, I got involved when I saw this whole H.B. Gary thing. I thought it was like the funniest thing on earth.
Yeah.
And then I was like, whoa, there's some serious stuff going on. You guys, like, uncovered, like, a real nefarious conspiracy. And these are, like, military contractors, federal contractors that really, like, have the power to actually, like, do these things. And it just seemed, like, so, like, cartoonishly evil.
Yeah. Twirling mustaches.
And
so I just wanted to say, like, and I found out this stuff about Aaron Barr making up, these fake profiles of Maxim models, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, they're making botnet armies with this stuff. Awesome. This isn't evil in any way at all.
And so that's how you got involved. You realized what was actually going on through...
Oh, I couldn't turn my head away from it, really. So that's how I got involved with it. I was like, Barrett's definitely, they're definitely on to something here.
And how would you describe Barrett as an individual? What is your, are you friends with him, and what kind of person is he?
I only met him at Hope 9.
Yeah,
to be honest.
there.
I met you guys too. It's kind of funny. He comes off as like a nice guy. Like, I'm not threatened by him or anything. He's an obvious comedian too, and like a very well-versed satirist too. Yeah. And he's not like he's definitely a genius, and he's not going to like harm somebody. This is like crazy. He'll like say things, but you got to understand, like, from a perspective of like internet trolling, like come on guys, this isn't real.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking about
yeah, like, come on, like the part of the movie, like, he's talking about trolling Habbo Hotel, like, you're really involved.
He's talking
with
about
Habbo
the We Are
Hotel,
Legion
and
movie.
you're really hurt by that.
Right,
like,
We Are Legion.
Really now.
Yeah, you were there. You were hanging out with us at Hope, actually. And do you remember when I got my finger stuck in the elevator door? Were you there? I got my finger stuck in the elevator door, and it made me. Oh,
did I?
Well, I mean, Oh wait, well I also had my ankles all swollen from wearing heels all day. That was also the problem. and this guy Subverso actually carried me across broken glass because I was walking barefoot because I couldn't wear. He gave me a piggyback ride like through New York City over like broken glass and upstairs onto a roof.
Good guy.
Yeah, we had a good time hanging out there. And
I have a question for you, Subverso, and for Lauren and Gregg too. Is does this make you scared at all about your involvement? Or, you know, I don't know exactly the extent, but does this make you scared that you
your activism
are being targeted or could be targeted?
By the feds.
Well, I mean, like,
Absolutely.
I think we're all targeted.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, I mean, the targeting is
one way or
happening.
another.
We all know that. The question is whether you allow it to actually affect what you do. You know, I'm paraphrasing here. I know other great people have actually said this, and I'm going to get it slightly wrong, but the thing that I always go by is you can't make your decisions based on fear.
Right.
If fear is what actually influenced your choices, then you are doing it wrong.
Yep.
You have to make your decisions based on what is right or wrong. You can have fear come in as a factor afterward to kind of judge your exact actions, but you have to make your decisions and do what you want to do based off of right and wrong. And right and wrong has nothing to do with illegal or legal.
Yeah, no. Those things are
Exactly.
completely
Thank
separate.
you. I think that deserves a round because that's absolutely correct. And a lot of people don't understand that. I mean, even on just like the Gawker article about Barrett Brown's situation, there were a lot of commenters that were, exactly.
Do you want to read some of them? I mean, some of the most ignorant ones that we can comment on.
Let me see if I can get it up.
Because I think that's a good thing to comment
Yeah,
on.
I mean, there were just a lot of people that said, you know, this is his fault for being involved in anonymous.
That's what I hear all the time.
You know, and he had it coming.
Just sit in the house, do nothing, watch reality TV. Let them bomb everyone. Let them just come on.
Like this is what one person
Be a slave.
said.
Be a
Reactionary.
sheep.
He said reactionary garbage. I've said it here before, and I suspect I'll say it again. The courts and juries can tell the difference between someone who links something for criminal intent and someone who doesn't. The problem wasn't that a link to illegal material was posted, but that person was engaged in a criminal conspiracy.
Oh, really? How can you prove that, jackass?
Exactly.
Jesus.
So.
That's not entirely true because, like, look what they just did to Weave.
Yeah.
Right,
Like,
with Weave.
What they did to Weave is egregious, and they're trying to say by sharing like somebody's email, a publicly accessible email, is that this is somehow makes you a victim of something. So now they have like a precedent set where Weave has released 4,000 emails to the state of New Jersey, which is what they argued. They're like, there's 4,000 victims, and now it's like, was there somebody really a victim if like their email is just out there?
Yeah, really.
Like, what do you guys get? They're creating victims here to say, like, well, like, this is like the case that we're going to make. There's all these victims. And
I know.
Yeah, does anyone who actually had their email come out through Weave's actions there, does anyone actually feel he deserves that amount of jail time for what happened to them?
Exactly.
Oh, no. Some more
Again,
spam.
what is more spam?
That's what it should be like. Like
What is the
anytime there's a
threat?
crime, there should be a victim.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's a person who's a dead person, that's a little different than, you know, having you can't have them come testify.
Like the Daily News, like Rupert Murdoch hacking the cell phone accounts of dead soldiers. Yeah.
Well, there's even people who are alive, like when Rupert Murdoch, his organization hacked these celebrities that are still alive or even dead, let's say, there's a victim and there is someone that wants justice. But where's the person that wants justice in these cases? It should be like it should always happen. Yeah,
right?
like even the corporations, do they really want? I wonder if even these corporations, the heartless motherfuckers that they are, do they even want to put Barrett Brown in jail this long?
Who knows? I mean, at this point, all we know is that the government are on a witch hunt, as Subverso said, and they were looking for any reason to get him, and they got him.
The question we always ask on this show is, what can people who are listening out there do? What do you, all three of you, think that the average person can do to help Barrett Brown if they want to support him right now?
The most important thing for Barrett right now is that he has proper legal representation. I mean, in the end, that's what someone sitting in his position needs. And, again, nothing against his public defender, who seems to be very confident and very skilled, but the amount of resources a public defender has versus a private, lawyer in a firm with a ton of people, assistants, special researchers. It's a world of difference, and we need to get him that level of support. And if that's simply by the fact that you know someone, if that's simply by the fact that you are related to the head of the EFF and can convince him that the precedent being set here would be bad, I don't really care. If it's just money donations, I mean, whatever you can do to help, that is the thing that will help.
Cash helps. Send money.
Talking about it, too.
Yeah, talk about
it.
Right.
Spread the word.
Yep, spread the word.
Put that link out there to
freebarrettbrown.org.
Yes.
Really important. Thank you so much for your time, Subverso. Thank you so much for calling in. And do we have other callers also calling in right now? That's what that Skype sound is. Sorry about that, guys.
Let's take
listening.
some calls.
Let's take some more calls.
Thank you, Subverso.
All right, who's this?
Oh, hey, it's Kevin.
Hey, Kevin.
Hey, Kevin.
What's up?
Kevin runs the freebarrettbrown.org website.
Oh, wow. Fantastic.
Yep.
Look at us, we're getting everyone.
He's our tech guy. He's our go-to.
Yeah. Am I in the air right now?
You
You
are.
are. Yep. Welcome.
Oh, wow. The stream's a little while behind. All right. Just like Gregg was saying, since we've seen these new round of charges, we're finally seeing some interest from cooperating attorneys in the EFF, people who might be interested in helping in the North District of Texas, and it's great.
Is there any way that we can contact them to urge them? I mean, politely, nicely say, hey, look, there's a lot of people out here watching this, and we really support Barrett. Will that help, do you think?
Yeah, it might. It might help. Well, basically how it works is they have a list of attorneys where they can, if someone needs legal help, they can send out a request, basically, and which is what we did. And we've already gotten some replies.
Tell them I would love to have them on the show, and I want to, promote this with their cause. Like, let them know that the media keeps calling. Like, we got to get him some support, legal support.
Yeah.
Good to hear that people are trying to get that. I'm so
And
glad
you're giving a lot of support by running the website. I mean, that's fantastic.
Kevin has done so much.
How did you get involved in all this?
Well, I first noticed Barrett like a year or two ago online, just through his involvement in Anonymous. Mm-hmm. And then, so I watched him for a while, and then I finally met him this summer at Hope 9, just like you guys were talking about.
Good networking there.
We were all there. That was a glorious night.
To me, he's just a great thinker. He's a writer, he's a journalist, and I admire his work.
Me too.
Yeah, no, and
I think everyone in the
appreciate everyone
studio
who's
does.
here. Yeah.
So, Kevin, on the website, what methods are there to actually donate?
We have WePay. You can use your credit card.
Excellent.
And we have Bitcoin.
Awesome.
Oh my God, you have Bitcoins.
We love
That's
Bitcoins.
incredible.
Yep.
That's awesome. We've actually done a few segments on the show about Bitcoins and alternative currencies, and I think especially with situations like this, not trying to leave a trail.
All you
is important.
libertarians, send some Bitcoins.
Yeah, there you go. Are only libertarians allowed to use
No.
Bitcoins now?
I'm sorry, Heather.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. You're pretty libertarian on something. I'm holding hope.
That was a glowing review of libertarians there.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
She won't even admit that she's a little libertarian.
I mean, obviously,
you're a pirate. That's
civil
what I do.
liberties, I'm all about them.
There you go.
But
All right.
civil rights and protections for
you
the
go.
vulnerable
You're
is
a
what
small-
I also
small
care about.
L.
There you go.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah. I'm a liberal. I'm a libertarian. That's what I am. Hey.
Good for that.
All right. So, anything else that you'd like to say today on the show before we have to let you go?
Just thanks everyone for showing their support. And thanks Lauren and Gregg for. I'm surprised you guys are there, showing up for Barrett. And yeah, people should just donate.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. FreeBarrettBrown.org.
Let's hear it for Kevin too.
Yep.
Thank you.
Using the applause effect to full use once again this week.
For him. Yeah. Kevin's been getting the lawyers. We need the lawyer. We need the lawyer for Barrett. We have more calls?
No? All right.
All right.
We're waiting right now, so anyone call in.
Yeah, 617-606-4122. We know a lot more of you are trying to call in. We might even go to a break, but we had a few more questions. There's a lot.
Yeah, we also got to get into the medical marijuana, trying to stall the medical marijuana stuff. So we should get to that.
Why don't we? We'll take a quick break.
Yep.
We'll come back with Lauren and Gregg. I want to hear more about, before we get into that medical marijuana, we want to get into more with them on some of the. We've been on Barrett Brown a lot. I want to hear about some of the other things that they're involved in, some of the groups they're working with, and hopefully invite them to come back on the show much more.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So we'll be back after a little bit of music, and stay tuned on Two Hotheads, where activism happens on Unregular Radio.
Unregularradio.com. The other thing, obviously, we need to increase transportation. There are a couple of problems with public transportation. Number one, it doesn't go every place in the country. But number two, a lot of people don't take public transportation because the car is much more comfortable than the train. If the average American had their choice, myself included, if the average American had their choice of being in the privacy of their own automobile, going anywhere they want to go at any given time with all the amenities that includes, or being required to stand in a moving cylinder under a major American city holding on to a metal pipe that 1 million people grabbed that morning, trying to balance yourself between a baby carriage, a homeless person, a bicycle, a folk singer, people grabbing your butt, asking you for money, singing you a ballad. The average person's going to choose the automobile. Therefore, we have to start building trains as comfortable as our automobiles. We've got to take it a step further, folks. We have to start building trains of automobiles. Trains of automobiles. Detroit has 9 million cars laying around doing nothing. String those babies together. So you go down into the subway and a train of automobiles pulls up. 900 automobiles, all attached bumper to bumper. Just like the commute. And we all would have our choice of automobile in the realm of public transportation. Think about it. We could just sit there on the way to work. You don't have to stare. You can listen to the radio, talk on the cell phone, drink a cup of coffee, read the newspaper, put on your makeup, text all your friends, all at the same time.
Uncensored, unregular radio.
And we're back live with two hotheads where activism happens. Unregularradio.com. We still have the lovely Lauren and Gregg here on the show. And we have been talking a lot about Barrett Brown, freebarrettbrown.org. Really important to support this, especially to donate. We heard from the person in charge of the website. We're really excited to have had that conversation, and it's a conversation that needs to continue. But I wanted to ask you guys a little bit more about your involvement with Anonymous and with organizing and activism in general, and kind of the stuff that you're doing. What about you, Lauren? Let's start with you. What is kind of the stuff that you're involved in right now?
A lot. Basically. So I try to do as much as I can with people in the Bradley Manning Support Network.
Yes.
Like fundraising. That's why I was at Hope, stuff like that. I am involved in the Massachusetts Pirate Party. I'm actually the first officer of the Massachusetts Pirate Party.
Tell us about that, because I saw that on Facebook. What is that?
Yes, this is another political party. We're a third party based around, yes.
I love that. You said the right word.
Third party. Yep. We're a third party based around freedom of information.
Even better.
Basically what we want is more privacy for the people, less privacy for the government. We want transparency, and we want, it was actually started in Europe it's also against copyright.
Good.
Stuff. So we don't like the fact that there are, college students being sent to prison for downloading music. That's ridiculous.
Right. That's crazy.
So, basically all the stuff you guys seem to agree with.
Yeah. Bankrupting kids. Like,
it's
they
ridiculous.
file lawsuits and they shake these kids down for like $50,000.
Yeah.
For posting music. Give me a break.
Yeah, no, it's dumb, and it's actually it started in Europe, in Sweden, and they actually have members of parliament and all that in Sweden and Germany.
Legislation through that's actually passing.
Yes,
now?
they're actually doing. Yeah, they're doing quite well in Europe. It's a little harder in America with third political parties, but we do a lot of good work. We had a crypto party where we taught people how to keep themselves safe on the internet, and we do more beyond trying to get people in office. We also do a lot of activism, and we'd love to have people run for office under our name. That would be great. And
we need to do it.
Yep.
Me and Mike, what do you think?
Pirates, yeah. It's also a cool ass name, like the Pirate Party. Like, why not? Yeah, exactly.
You were at the Freedom Rally too. I saw that.
Yep, we were.
Pirate Party at the,
We were, because we do support legalization of marijuana.
Awesome.
Hell yeah! Got you.
That's like a no-brainer.
Yeah.
And the other group that I've been doing some stuff with is a new nonprofit that's been founded by Alex Matthews called the Campaign for Digital Fourth Amendment Rights. And we've been working to push forward privacy legislation in the state of Massachusetts to protect us from warrantless wiretapping and government surveillance online. So that's another group that we're still sort of in stealth mode, but I'm trying to, also that's another thing that I'm doing. So I guess those are the major things right now, besides anonymous stuff, whatever comes up. So
wow,
yeah,
a lot of stuff just kind of comes at you. When
basically somebody raises their hand and says, "Hey, we're doing something wrong, and we have to fix it." So.
Yeah,
yep.
Might as well be you.
Yeah. And one of the things that you've done a lot of work on, Lauren, is the Bradley Manning.
Yeah, I mean, I am not like a official board member of the support network or anything special like that, but I am friends with a lot of people who are involved with that stuff, and we raised $7,000 for him over a weekend in New York City. It was me and David Housh, who is a member of the Bradley Manning Support Network and all that, and doing rallies, whatever, with that. So that's been fun too.
Will you definitely come back on and kind of do a feature on that with us?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Excellent.
Yeah, that needs to happen.
Yeah, okay, that needs to happen.
Definitely.
Sounds good.
Absolutely.
And what about you, Gregg? You like I said earlier, you're almost infamous. Like I've been like watching you from afar. I'm gonna be honest. Like one of the things that I was afraid of with the movement, kind of anonymous, and all these hacking groups, is you don't know who people are, and it is really scary wondering who might be an agent. And like you and Barrett were so kind of successful and out there that I'm just so cynical, you know. And I immediately was like, those two guys are probably agents. And now I'm realizing everybody else around you was probably a fucking agent.
Probably.
You guys are the real deal, it seems like. So tell us, like, you were there at Occupy from the very beginning. You've been involved in, you were, I believe, the site coordinator at one point for Occupy, or you've had a lot to do with that movement.
I had some stuff to do there.
Tell us all the things you've been involved in, what you're doing now. And I also want to hear from both of you on, what do you think the average person sitting at home should be? What kind of people, what kind of groups, what kind of activism should they be participating in right now and trying to support and help?
Okay, well, I mean, involvement, of course I did a lot with Occupy, and was really a big fan of what went on there. I seem to be able to talk to people in positions in the government and whatnot quite easily. And
who are name some of the people that you've, because I know, for one, the governor.
Well, of course, I brought the governor out to see the site.
Deval Patrick.
Yeah, Deval Patrick.
How was your interaction with him? How did it go?
My interaction with him was interesting, not because of his part. He was really accepting of what was going on. It was surprising. I know it was just him being a politician, but he was really easy to talk to. He was really interested in what was going on and impressed by the infrastructure we had put together. But there were a lot of occupiers there who were also just yelling horrible things at him about his, $4 million house and all the other things that he had done that they disagreed with. And, I completely agree with their complaints, but it did make it interesting to have a conversation with him when we could barely hear each other as we were showing him the place.
They actually did that?
Oh, yeah.
That seems a little...
There were only a couple of them doing it. It wasn't the whole camp. It was just a couple guys who just would not let us have the talk. But we did that, and, I did a lot of liaising with the police to make sure that they kind of played as nice as possible, and, sticking myself in between them and other activists when things looked like they were going bad.
That's awesome.
And one of the more interesting ones that happened was the night of the sink debacle, where they tried to bring a sink in.
That was
after the city had said we couldn't bring building supplies in. I was actually dealing with two sick children, so I was at home that night. I wasn't actually there at the Occupy, and I get a call from someone down at Occupy saying, "You're the one of us who's the friendliest with the cops right now. Could you please get down here? Shit is hitting the fan." And I decided, you know what, I need to find out where the guy who's actually in control of that area is. Where's Superintendent Evans? So I just picked up my phone and called his cell phone, because he had given it to me, right when Occupy started, and said, if it's going to get really bad, call me. And I called him, and he was just standing up out of his bed, same as me, and he said, I'm already putting my shoes on, Gregg. And I said, I'm a few steps behind you. I'll see you there in half an hour. He said, I'll be there in 20. And we get down there, and I walk over to the occupiers and ask you tell me what they've done, what's going on, where are we here? And they explained everything to me much better than what I'd gotten over the phone. I'm like, well, shit. And Evans is over with the police trying to get the story from them. And I walked over to him and said, what are you going to do? And he said, I'm going to try and slowly stand these police down and get them all home, because there were, 50 guys there when normally there's 4. And so he was working to calm them down and simmer down everything, where he could slowly set one home, then the next one home. And he said, could you please get any of the occupiers to stop yelling at them. I said, no. I can go over and tell them that you're going to try and get all the police to go away, and that might calm some people down, but that's all I've got. I have no power to tell anyone to do anything.
Sure.
But I can explain to them what you're trying to do. And, within about half an hour or so, things had calmed down, but that was one of those things that I liked to do, because for some reason they're willing to talk to me on kind of an even level, because I won't take their shit.
But you're still even keeled.
But I can tell.
Like,
you have
that's what you need to.
One of the cops was trying to, at that exact moment, one of the cops on a motorcycle had gotten off a motorcycle, was trying to take the camera from a lady who was taking pictures of him as he was, getting a bit loud with one of the other protesters. So I actually got in between them, stared at him, and said, your boss told you last week at a meeting that I know exactly what he said because I saw it written down. He told you can't do that. We've won in court the right to do this. And he said, no, you haven't. I'm allowed to do that. And started yelling at me. So I just stood there, yelled back, and got in his face. Then his commanding officer kind of got about 10 feet away, and I said, do you want me just to get him to tell you to leave? And the cop looked at me, looked at his officer, and turned around and walked off. And, as long as you don't take their shit, but also don't step over that line where you're like now touching them. And, you can get them to talk to you on an even level. And so I was just doing that type of stuff while I was there. And I enjoy doing that type of stuff. I actually get a lot of enjoyment out of doing that.
I hear you. I've done it a couple times, and I like it too. Especially like you could, the funniest thing, one of our other friends, Frank, who often comes in, we went to an activism event and the cop interaction, and he actually had the cops laughing, and the cops were actually doing our bidding in a lot of respects. The same thing happened at a 420 event. We did this 420 event. The cops come up, and he said they like a lot of these events that we do with Garrett too. The cops are already there before we are. They already know. It's weird. Every time we go out somewhere, we have, even at the club events we do, fundraisers, they're always there. And the cop comes up to us and goes to my friend Michael Malta, me and him. The cops come out and go, "You guys are organizing this," and we didn't have a permit,
right?
And I had already talked to Michael about what to say to the cops when they said that. And we both looked at him, and I said, "No, we're not organizing this. And let me ask you something: does anyone organize Christmas? Because that's what this is." And he said, "Christmas, huh?" And he started laughing.
Nice.
And he said, "How long are you going to be here?" I said, "About 15 minutes." And he said, "Good. See you later." And he just had a laugh. I mean, it's straight up.
The one thing in Boston that you have to remember is be straight with them, and they'll be straight with you. But the key is they have permits for everything. You can get them if you really feel like you want to play that nice with them. It's possible, and you know what? They're actually surprisingly easy to get. But you don't have to. In conversations I had with them, when we were permitting some of our events, I asked for a permit for a specific location they didn't want to give, and I said, well, what happens if we go there anyways? And the person on the phone just frankly said, look, what you're doing is going to be a free speech thing. If they try and arrest you or anything else, we're in bigger trouble than you are, so they probably won't do anything to you. Just be nice about it if you're going to act that way.
Yeah.
And I said, I'll call you back next week about the permit. Maybe we'll get it, maybe we won't. But, the idea that you have to get a permit, it's really not true.
Most of the time we don't.
It's a nicety.
Yeah.
If you're doing it, it's because you really even want way better relations with them than you ever thought. It's not something you have to do.
Yep.
And so, I have that relationship with them, too, that I've reached out and done a lot of that. And so before Occupy started, I had 3 years of actually permitting protests and getting things done right with them. And so I had a lot of people I could call and talk to that I had spent a lot of time on the phone with. And that helped a lot with what we were trying to do in the beginning. And but other than that, one of the guys I met there was a guy named Garrett. Laporto, yep. And everyone has interesting ideas about who and what he is. But I'll tell you, one of the things that he's working on right now that is amazing is a website called upriser.com. This has nothing to do with all the other stuff that he's been involved with in the past and the books and whatnot. This is what is being referred to as the evolution of revolution. And one of the ideas behind the website is pulling together a lot of the tools that we use. If you ever have seen an anonymous event or any of the other things that happen online, you'll notice they've got a website that usually pops up. They've got press releases that go out. But beyond that, they've got paste bins, they've got wikis, they've got, tons of things, plus live chat on IRC, all these other pieces that
information, communication.
Anyone else out there trying to say, do something like this isn't going to know how to do.
Yeah.
It takes a techie to really set up some of this infrastructure to find it for you. So what Uprisor is trying to do is provide it. You go up there and you hit a button and you get all of that.
Wow.
And you get a system that looks similar to Reddit in what you're seeing of what's available on the site with upvoting and everything else. But when you go into it and you can see the comments next to it, you're going to see buttons for the pad, the collaborative chat, the wiki, the everything. So you have access to do all of this, and anyone can do it. And
so it sounds like a tool for activists.
It really is. That's what the website's going to be.
Wow,
and they've actually got funding to pay for a programmer. And so it's actually getting worked on right now. The front page is up. There's some basic stuff you can see, but uprisor.com is one of the things I'm going to be focusing some time on, hopefully to help get them some press, some coverage, and deal with any inquiries like that. Also doing some community management, because hopefully we're going to get a big community around the site and have people start using it.
I talked to him actually about that website a few months ago, and definitely interested in that.
Some funding is showing up, so programmers are working on it right now.
Yeah, we'll take advantage of that. Won't we, Heather, for our show? It sounds good, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Sounds like exactly what we need.
Definitely.
For our show.
That's another thing I've been heavily involved with lately, trying to get that off the ground.
Awesome.
Very cool.
And then, of course, any of the random events that just seem to come up. Like, Lauren said, one of the interesting things that happens from our side is targets aren't usually picked. They all stand up and raise their hand and ask to be a problem. They ask for our attention.
That is the perfect segue for where we're going to be going next.
Yeah, so
because that's what we do.
That's how that works.
Now I'm ready to start another protest there, Heather, right?
Right?
You know who I'm going to protest,
yeah,
right? We're going to occupy some. Yeah.
We're occupying Keenan.
And it's like,
and this one's
I didn't pick him.
really
He picked himself. He raised his hand.
He stood up and said, "Could you please come bother me?"
Yeah.
And we're gonna, because this is some bullshit. This is some crazy, crazy shit.
I think he just needed some attention, really.
I think that's what it is.
Perhaps.
I think he feels ignored.
Before we go, though, go into that.
Absolutely.
I want to make sure that we acknowledge these guys over here. And I think what we're gonna do is have you guys back as maybe a recurring segment to talk about some more of this activism as it happens.
Please, will you both come back?
Sounds
Absolutely.
good.
Let's hear it for Gregg.
Yeah, seriously. So much fun.
That was awesome. Awesome. I mean, dude, we're like out of time. I know we have more time in the show, but we could go longer.
That's why we're going to have him back. Yeah.
So before we let you go, where can people get in touch with you directly? Like if someone wants to be working with you or checking all your activism, what's the best way to get in touch with you, or what kind of things would you throw out there?
So for people that aren't concerned about operational security, they can find me on Twitter at @SplendidSpoon, like Splendid Spoon, but no underbars or anything like that.
Easy.
And anyone who is a little more concerned and wants to do something OTR, they can reach me at splendidspoon@jabber.ccc.d. They would know what I'm talking about. Yeah.
they would know about that.
Yeah, they know what that is. So.
Excellent.
Cool. And I mean, for OTR, for me, it's the same thing. I'm just Gregg at GHC. So GREGGATGHC is the letters. That's my Gmail, that's my GChat, and on GChat I use OTR, so we can do that nice and encrypted if you want. Contact me whenever you feel like it.
Awesome.
Right on.
Yeah. Can't wait to have you guys
so
back.
Much. Yeah, this is a great conversation, and it's something, like I said, that needs to continue because it keeps happening, and you guys are putting yourself out there in a big way, and we respect that.
And
very
we really
much on
appreciate it.
Yeah,
all the work that you're doing for all of us.
Indeed.
Uncensored. Unregularradio.com.